right, Mrs. Kegley's English 8. Today we are reading Chapter 8 of the Contender on page 65. Okay. Monday night and dressed so fine, said Major, leaning against the locked clubroom door. So fine, echoed Sonny, circling behind Alfred. Where you been, Uncle Alfred? Alfred stared at his black shoes. His knees were quivering. He wished he were sitting down. Hollis showed his buck teeth. You know, Uncle Alfred can't talk unless James is around to tell him what to say. Where's James? Asked Alfred. Where's James? Where's James? Mimicked Major. What do you want with me? What do you want with me? Mimicked Hollis. I'll tell you, snapped Major, pushing away from the door with his elbows. Friday night we're going to hit Epstein's again, only this time we're going in easy. This time you going to help us. No chance, said Alfred. The words were out of his mouth before he could swallow them back. What you say? Major's eyes narrowed. What you say to me? Alfred jammed his hands into his pockets and pressed his fingers through the cloth into his thighs. His knees stopped quivering. I said no. You said no? Alfred tensed for Major's attack, but there was only surprise on his heavy face. Look, slave, you don't have to come with us. No. All you got to do is disconnect them wires on the burglar alarm. No. What's the matter with you? Said Hollis. We'll split with you, said Major, and you don't even have to come. A vein popped out on Major's forehead, and his thick arms shook from the strain of keeping his muscles flexed. Where was all that coolness? All that confidence? No chance at all, Alfred said. You crazy? Asked Hollis, looking from Alfred to Major and then back to Alfred. What's got into you? I gotta go now, said Alfred, quivering again as he took a step toward the door. Major jumped in front of him. Where you think you're going? Home. Not till I let you. The knife came out fast and clicked open. You ever hear of a squealer's scar? Yeah. Then you know what I'm going to do. One cut from your mouth to your ear. You wear it the rest of your life. Hollis was frozen, his mouth hanging slack. Sonny's eyes were dull and staring. Alfred pressed down his toes to quiet his knees. You want the scar? No. Then you're going to do it, right? No. Major's tongue flicked out between his lips, and a bead of sweat broke out on his nose. No. He's crazy, Alfred. Crazy man, said Hollis. Must be crazy, said Major, straightening out of his knife fighter's crouch. I'll give you to Wednesday to get your back to your senses. Answer's no, said Alfred. Don't have to decide now. I've decided now. Major's voice was almost a scream. But why? Because I don't need to, that's why, said Alfred, taking a second step toward the door. The Epsteins don't care about you. You just a black end slave to them. Maybe so. Just a black boy to carry out their garbage, that's all. Got nothing to do with them, said Alfred, moving past Major. You scared? You think that if you want. He put his foot on the first step. Why? He reached the door and unlocked it. I got things to do, that's why. You got to Thursday to decide, screamed Major. You got to Thursday. Alfred closed the door behind him, and just as his knees sagged, shuddered violently, and then he straightened, and all the way home he wanted to raise his right arm to the ringside crowd on the stoops. End of Chapter 8. All right, we're back. Chapter 9, The Contender, page 69. The birds were gossiping in the trees. There goes Alfred, smooth and easy. Watch his knees come high and steady. Champagne Alfred, look at him. Hang in there, Al, you're looking good, yelled the smaller cop, and Alfred waved back and put on a burst of speed just to show them how good he could look. His arms swinging easily at his sides, sucking in the air through his nostrils, letting it out his mouth. He ran for more than an hour, over grass and gravel, until the sun burned away the early mist and dried the dew. Squirrels skittered out of his way, and twice he saw other runners, and they waved and smiled at him, like they were all partners. A stitch chewed at his side, but he kept running until the stitch disappeared. His breath caught in his ribs, but he kept running until he got his second wind. He didn't stop until cars and buses began to snarl and belch their way through the roads of the park, filling his nose and mouth with gas and oil fumes. On the way home, he stopped every 20 minutes for 2 quick, deep knee bends. He tried to hop up the first flight of stairs on his left leg and the second on his right. He almost made it. At the door, he touched his toes 10 times before throwing it open and striding smack into Aunt Pearl. Alfred! Her face was stern, her hands on her hips. Yes, ma'am? He winked at the girls, kissed his aunt on top of her head, and cake-walked around the kitchen table. No applause, folks, please. You drunk? Now, Aunt Pearl, you know I never drink till after breakfast. Charlene giggled in her cereal. Where you been? Out running. From what? From 110th to 85th Street and back, nearly 3 miles. Don't you make fun of me, Alfred. Wipe that smirk off your face. Where you been? Ladies, an announcement. The twins began to giggle, too. Introducing Alfred Brooks, the up-and-coming champion of the world. Now you gonna be the down-and-out chump if you keep on. She snatched up a big wooden serving spoon. You ain't that big, I still can't whip that smirk off your face. The girls ducked back into their cereal. Now where you been? I've been running in the park, building up my wind, get in shape, strengthen my legs. Slow down, what are you talking about? Aunt Pearl, I'm going to be a boxer. Boxer? The word rattled the cereal bowls, and the girls came up with their milk on their noses. Are you out of your mind? Boxer? Now you better... Alfred Brooks, I can tell you're not fooling around, are you? No, ma'am, Mr. Donatelli, at the gym. He's going to teach me to... Boxer? And get your head busted open? What would your sweet mama say, Lord rest her soul, if she knew I let you? Her voice trailed off. Where you go last night? Madison Square Garden. With who? Henry and Henry Johnson? Yeah, and Jelly Belly and Spoon. Spoon? Bill Witherspoon. He's a school teacher and used to be a boxer. A trace of a smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. And I been so worried. First you get beat up, then act so strange yesterday morning, and then out late last night in your good suits all wrinkled. I thought you'd had some more trouble. And this morning you sound like you're drunk or something. I feel good. Who's this Mr. Donatelli? He's a boxing manager, and he has a gym. Henry works there. He has a couple champions. You planning to quit your job for this? Not right away. Be a while before I get to be a professional. I don't like this boxing business one bit. Full of gangsters, and people get hurt bad. Mr. Donatelli's no gangster. Last night he made Willie Streeter stop because he had a cut eye. And he made Spoon quit because he was getting hit too much. And Spoon was winning fights. We'll talk to Reverend Price about this. Now let's eat. I'll have orange juice, 2 boiled eggs, toast, and tea. You'll have what? This ain't a restaurant. Boxers can make big money, Aunt Pearl. You might not have to work no more. Buy you a little house by Aunt Dorothy's, a car so you can drive to church on Sunday. Don't you load no promises on your head, honey. I'm serious, Aunt Pearl. I know you are. You've never been so excited about anything in your life till today. But I just wish it was something else. End of chapter 9.